Hey guys, this is question MM080 of the Maths Methods Sharpened Study Guide. The quadratic function f of x is given by f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are real numbers. The following is known about the function f of x. The turning point occurs at x equals 4. The gradient at x equals 3 is equal to negative 6, and the y-intercept occurs at 0, 7. Find the values of a, b, and c. So we're given 3 points of information, and we need to use each one of these points to find the different values of a, b, and c. So let's start with our turning point occurs at x equals 4. So how do we actually find out what the turning point is? There's two ways. First is differentiation, and second is simply the normal turning point formula. So I like to use the turning point formula, which is the x value of the turning point is equal to negative b on 2a, which is convenient because they've used the same coefficients here, a and b. And we know that the turning point occurs at x equals 4, which means that 4 is equal to negative b on 2a. So all we've done is just replace this tpx with the x value, which is 4. So now we want to get one of these terms in terms of the other. So we times both sides by 2a, which gives us 8a equals negative b, which gives b equals negative 8a. So I'm going to call this equation 1 because we're going to have to use a simultaneous equation to solve these. And the reason that we know that is because there's no possible way we can find out what b and a are using this equation without using another one. So let's then go for the gradient at x equals 3 is equal to negative 6. So this is where you're going to have to bring in some differentiation, a little bit of calculus. If you haven't done that yet, don't worry about it. This is probably a good time to actually watch this if you haven't done it yet, and maybe get your head around it a little bit, but you should have done this sort of thing in year 11. So we know that the gradient, which is m equals 3, is equal to negative 6 at x equals 3. Which means that f dash of x is equal to negative 6 at x equals 3, which means that f dash of 3 is equal to negative 6. So the x equals 3 just goes into where x is, and then we just need to work out what f dash of x is. So f dash of x is the derivative of f of x, and what we do is we take the power of the first one, multiply it by the front, and take 1 off the power. So we take that 2 to the front, that becomes a 1, and then that's our first term. So we get 2ax to the power of 1, which is simply x. Move on to the next one, plus bx. Whenever we've got an x on the end and we're deriving, we just take the x off, so that is equal to b, and then a constant just becomes 0. So our f dash of x is equal to 2ax plus b. Now, we know that f dash of 3 is equal to negative 6, which means that f dash of 3 is equal to 2a times 3. All we do is just replace the x with the 3 plus b, and that's equal to negative 6. So negative 6 is equal to 2a times 3, which is 6a, plus b. And what we then want to do is actually get b by itself again, because we've already got b by itself over here. If we get it by itself over here, then we can make them equal each other. So this means that b is equal to negative 6, take away 6a, and this is our second equation. And because we have b by itself in both equations, we can actually let these sides equal each other. So 2 equals 1, we get negative 8a equals negative 6 take 6a. And all we've done is just take this side and equal it to this side because they both equal b, which must mean they are the same. So from there, we add 6a to both sides, which means we get negative 2a equals negative 6. And going on from there, we get a equals negative 6 over negative 2, which is equal to 3. Because we know that b is equal to negative 8a, b is equal to negative 8 times 3, which equals negative 24. So that's our second value. And now we need to work out our c value. So we know that the y-intercept occurs at 0, 7, and the best bet is to just sub that coordinate into this equation. So we know that f of x is equal to 3x squared take 24x plus c, because these are our b and a values. And then we know that a point occurs at 0, 7. So 7 equals 3 times 0 squared, take 24 times 0 plus c, which means that c equals 7. So I would actually write as a final answer, a equals 3, b equals negative 24, and c equals 7. because the question specifically asks, find the values of A, B, and C. And if you list them out like this, you can't go wrong, and that is your final answer.